Welcome to Puvanur RVIR Laya Academy of Music and Mathematics. Welcome to Puvanur RVIR Laya Academy of Music and Mathematics. We are in level 5 Pancha Nadai. We have completed the perspective of how to do Tisra Nadai. I have also given you an insight into Ganda Nadai, and then I have taken a detour into different thalas, how to handle the Tisra Nadai. Yesterday, in the last class, we saw how to play Tisra Nadai in Rupaka Thalam. Today, we are going to see how to play Tisra Nadai in Misra Chapu Thalam. We will learn the basics. Before I get into the class, I will start this class with a Thirukkural. Inbam Gedayaradu Indum Ava Ennum Tunbathul Tunbam Kedin. What is the meaning of it? Tunbangalul Kodiya Asai Ennum Tuyarathai Vittu. One of the most harmful thing what Thiruvalluvar describes is the desire. If you can get rid of it, Nilayana inbattai peralam, you can get a firm happiness permanently. This happiness will stay for longer time. That's what Thiruvalluvar mentions in this Thirukkural. With this good thought, we will enter into the class. Today, we are going to learn how to play Tisra Nadai in Misra Chapu Thalam. Unlike in Adi Thalam and Rupaka Thalam, the way you approached Tisra Nadai is din, din, tata, din, din, tata, din, din, tata, din, tata kita taka dinadin, tat din, tata, dim, tata kita din, din, tata, dim, titta din, din. We went in that format. Here, the thala is tricky, is takita, taka, dimmi. So let's learn a different approach, an easier approach to play Tisram in this thala. I'll also teach you some techniques towards the end of the class so that you can use all those ideas for building it later to a reasonable extent. So the basic vanilla way you're going to play is where you can approach Tisra is Tangutata Dhimi, Taka Dhimi, Tata Dhimi. I'm going to use that sequence as a base. And I'm going to explain you how this Tisram approach can be played with ease and with continuity. Let's see how it goes. This is a Tisra. I will go step by step now. Tang tata dim taka dimmi tata dimmi tang tata dimmi tang tata dimmi tang tata dimmi. This chatusram of takadina becomes 6, as I told you. Takadina becomes 6, 4 equal to 6. That's the time frame we are going to do. Takadimi tata dimi will be replaced by tang tata dimi tang tata dimi. Takita 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 takita. Tadi kita tadi kita tum. All these are patterns of Tisra. But the appropriate phrase in this context is you have to use the relevant phrase. Tangatadimi is the base. So use the same. Tangatadimi, tangatadimi. It's a phrase of Rupaka. So which is a phrase of 6 aksharas. So you will have to use that context related phrase for the Tisra Nadai. Tangatadimi takadimi tatadimi tangatadimi 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 takadimi tatadimi tangatadimi tangatadimi tangatadimi. This graduation should come seamlessly. Now you have started and getting established with half thala Tisra Nadai. Now how do we play for the other part of it? This is 1.5 beats. So now for one beat you say tangatadimi. When you say tadimi, if you had, that is for half a beat. Tadimi is for 1 beat. Tadimi is for 1 beat. For half beat it's only 1 tadimi. If you add or prefix tadimi, tangatadimi, then it becomes the first part. Tadimi tangatadimi 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 tadimi tangatadimi tangatadimi tangatadimi. That's how the first part becomes Tisra pattern. That is the engineering aspect of it. So before you play Tisra Nadai, you understand the engineering aspect of it, and then you will be able to master and play very well. So now you note the later half. For the 4 you are playing a 6. For the 6, tadi kitatum, takita takita, tangatadega tangatadega, tarikatadega tarikatadega, though all are synonyms of tangatadimi, in this context, if you use the relevant phrase, it's more appropriate. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, we try to transition the first part of Chatusram, which is tangatadimi. Though it might be a little confusing. Tangatadimi in the Chatusra form is slower, tangatadimi in the Tisra form is faster, because this is 4, that is 6. So that is the little difference you have to understand. Typically students get confused because this is also tangatadimi, this is also tangatadimi. Why does he call it Chatusram and Tisram? Tangatadimi is in a Chatusra format. This tangatadimi is in a Tisra format. The tangatadimi in Chatusra format, you further make it as a Tisra format by adding tadimi. Tadimi is a half beat Tisra Nadai cycle. So tadimi tangatadimi, that is the refined way of the Tisra Nadai format in Misra Chapu. So that's the idea. I'm spending more time in this particular lesson so that the other lessons are somewhat similar. Tadimi tangatadimi 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 tadimi tangatadimi tangatadimi tangatadimi. Again, I'll go from Tisram, I'll graduate into only the first part of Tisram, then I'll graduate the second part of the Tisram, then I'll see the whole Tisram format. Tangatadimi takadimi tatadimi tangatadimi takadimi tatadimi. This is the vanilla Chatusra format. Now I'm getting into Tisra Nadai. Then you can play all the sequences, whatever I taught you in level 2 in Misra Chapu. You keep playing and come back to tangatadimi like this, because now you're going to approach Tisra Nadai. Tangatadimi, 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 tangatadimi. Then the onlookers will look at you. Hey, this guy is going to do something different of this in some lay aspects. Let's listen to him. Because Tisra Nadai generally it's exciting mode. Then you have to change the first part. Tadimi tangatadimi 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 tadimi tangatadimi tangatadimi tangatadimi. Then you try building or embellish with phrases. Tadimi tangatadimi 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 tadimi tangatadimi 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 tadimi tangatadimi tangatadimi tangatadimi. Then again further refine. Tadimi tanga tadimi tongradega tadimi tongradega tadimi tadimi tanga tadimi tongradega tadimi tongradega tadimi tadimi tongradega tadimi tongradega tadimi tongradega tadimi tongradega tadimi tongradega tadimi tongradega tadimi tadimi tongradega 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 tadimi tongradega 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 tadimi tongradega 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 tadimi tongradega 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 all the phrases, rich lessons of the level 2 gets converted into the Tisra format. As you reach into the crescendo of then you finish it off with a classic chorway. Tadum takadena tam, tadum takadena tam, tadum takadena tam, tadiketa, 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 tadum takadena tam, tadum takadena tam, tadum takadena tam, tadiketa, 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 dena tam, tadum takadena tam, tadum takadena tam, tadiketa, 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 takita din, takita din, takita din, takita din, takita takadena din, takita din, takita takadena din, takita din. Takita takita din din takita din takita din takita din takita din takita 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 din din takita din dum takita din takita din takita 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 din takita din takita din takita din takita din takita 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 din takita din takita takita din takita din takita din takita din takita takita din takita takita takadena 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 dim tatakita takadena dim tatakita takadena dim tadikita tata tadikita tata tadikita dim takita dim takita takita dim takita dim takita takita dim takita dim da takita takadena dim takita dim takita takadena takita takadena 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 takita dim ta di takita dim ta di ta takita dim tadikita ta tadikita ta tadikita takita dim ta di takita dim ta di ta takita dim tadikita ta tadikita ta tadikita takita dim ta di takita dim ta takita dim tadikita ta so this is the reverse way of telling the chorway. This Tisra chorway, the second, there are two chorways I've taught you. Ta takita 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 denadim. Ta ta takita takita denadim. Ta takita takita denadim. Tadikita tata. Tadikita tata. Tadikita tata. This is a very simple chorway of a 14 akshara phrase. The next chorway, what you can play is din takita din. Takita takita din takita din takita takita ta takita dim ta di takita dim ta di ta takita di tadikita ta tadikita tadikita ta tadikita tadikita tadikita. So this is an approach of playing Tisra Nadai in Misra Chapu typically. There are many ways I'll teach you a little later in the level 6, but this is good enough for you. Few other tips for building the Tisra Nadai. Typically, as I told you, any two phrases in Chatusram is equal to three phrases in Tisram. I have proved you as well. For example, takadhina, two takadina. If you have to play Tisram in the same time space, you will be able to play three. Takadin, takadina, 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 takadin, takadina, takadina, takadina. When you can do for a 4-syllabled phrase, it's universal, you can do it for any phrase, which means 5 equal of tadikitatum is equal to tadinginatum tha. So 3 Tadinginathoms can fit in 2 Tadinginathom space. Similarly, 2 Misra Nadai, Takadimi Takita can fit in 3, you can play 3 in the same space, which is Tisra Nadai. In Misra Chapu, Tadim, Tadim, Takadim, Tadim, 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 Takadim, Tadim, 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 Takadim, Tadim, 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 Takadim, Tadim, 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 Takadim, Tadim. So two phrases of Misram is replaced with 3 phrases of Misram in Tisra Nadai. So beautifully in Misra Chapu Thalam, within Misra Chapu Thalam, we can identify a Ganda Chapu Thalam. How? Takkitta Takka is equal to Misra is Ganda Chapu. Takkitta Takka is equal to Takka Takkitta. So it is hidden in a reverse way, it is there. So you should be able to view a Ganda Chapu Thalam component within the Misra Chapu Thalam. Takkitta Takka Dhimmi is Misra Chapu, but Takkitta Takka is equal to Ganda Chapu. So it's hidden within the Misra Chapu. So when you can identify that, so you will be able to play Tadikataka Tadikataka Tadikatakum, Tadikataka Tadikataka Tadikatakum, Tadikataka Tadum, Tadikataka Tadum, Tadikataka. So you also have Sangirna Chapu hidden within Misra Chapu Thalam. Misra Chapu Thalam itself is complicated. So if you can combine all these 3, you can play a 5-7-9 Tisra format in Misra Chapu Thalam. Tadikataka, 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 Tadin, Tadikataka, Tadum, Tadikataka, Tadum, Tadikataka. So this is the concept. So for 2.5 beats, you can play 3 Tadinginathoms. For 3.5 beats, you can play 3 Misram phrases. For 4.5 phrase, you can play 3 Sangirnam phrases. So that is the idea behind it. And I want you to learn this. For example, when you are playing Tadim, Tadim, Tagadim, Tadim, 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 Takata, 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 Takadadim, 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 Tadim, Takadim, Tadim, 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 Tadikataka, 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 Tadim, 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 Tadikataka, Tadikataka, Tadim, 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 Tadikataka, 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 Takadadim, Takadadim, Takata. These phrases will come in handy as capsules to play some interesting format. So you can play all these phrases extempore when you get this advanced knowledge. So this is the base for Misra Chapu Tisra Nadai. Few korvais I taught you, 3 korvais. Tadom Tagadenatam, Tadom Tagadenatam, Tadom Tagadenatam, Tadikataka, 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 that korvai, Ta Tagataka Tagadenadim, that korvai, Ta Tagadadim, that Di Tagadadim, that korvai. And the concept of 2 phrases and equal to 2 Tisrams, if you can remember and try to see whatever the 2 phrases you can think about, you can convert as Tisram and then try to experiment it out. If you want to tell Tisram, you can tell 3 times. Takita, 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 dum, kita, kita, taka, taka, tari, kita, taka, dum, kita, kita, taka, taka, tari, kita, dum, kita, kita, taka, taka, tari, kita, taka, dum, kita, kita, taka, taka, tari, kita, taka, dum, kita, kita, taka, taka, tari, kita, taka, din. So you can tell in the lower format of Tisram, in a higher format of Tisram, and all in much in equal propositions or mixed propositions. You should get the mastery of how to tell Tisram. That's important. So it's just not learning the Tisra Nadai is important. I want you to do some homework, taking some phrases, taking some concepts, trying to fit into the Misra Chapu Thala and see how it comes. That way your knowledge will get enriched and strengthened. I'll see you in the next class with a perspective of how to play Tisra Nadai in Ganda Chapu Thalam. Until then, Pavanar we are signing off with the Thirukkural. Ara iyarkai ava nippin and nilaye pera iyarkai tarum. What is the meaning of it? Orupodum nirambada iyalbuடைய avavai கைவிட்டால். The desire will not give you a completeness. That's what Thiruvalur mentions in this Thirukkural. and if you can get rid of it, அப்பொழுதே அழிவில்லாத மாறாத இன்ப வாழ்வை பெறலாம். The moment you leave that, you will get an endless state of happiness. That's what Thiruvar mentions in this Thirukkural. With this, I'm concluding this class. I will see you in the next class in Pancha Nadai. I will be dealing the topic in how to play Tisra Nadai in Ganda Chapu Thalam. Until then, Pavanur RVA signing off.
Mm-hmm.